My name is Sharon Vogue, and I am the current principal at Immaculate Conception Catholic School in Three Rivers. I am honored and privileged to be able to carry on this mission that began in 1949 with the Sisters of St. Joseph. Over the years, we've seen a lot of changes. In 1989, under the direction of Father Mike Hazard, who is now Monsignor Mike Hazard, they built our current school on Douglas Avenue. Over the years, we've seen many changes, but the mission has stayed the same. We're based on the three pillars of faith, knowledge with academic excellence, and service to others. We are doing the annual fund, which is called the Sisters of St. Joseph Legacy Fund, because they began the school. They were the first teachers, so that our mission can continue for decades to come. We want to make sure what is here now will continue for tomorrow's children. We are currently serving 6-week-old children all the way through 8th grade, with many programs through the summer as well. We want to thank everyone who over the years have supported this vital mission of the church. And we come before you now to ask for donations so that we can sustain this dream into the future, so that generations to come have the opportunity of a Christ-centered education.
So my name is Joe Granzato. I grew up in Three Rivers, and I came from a large family, large Catholic family. I think everybody knew my parents. Mom, she played the organ here for many years. So I attended Catholic schools from 1971 to 1977. The old, it's the old, to me, they tore it down now, the old Catholic school there on South Main. The school that had rocks for a playground, by the way. My niece remember that. I never could figure that out as a kid. You know, why are we falling? But the thing that I remember that really sticks in my head was every Tuesday and Thursday we had Mass in the basement. And we started the day with Mass. We started each day with the Pledge of Allegiance and with prayer, as I recall. And of course, I remember the big Father Tellers. At the time, he would come. He was a big priest, played football, big old guy, had that deep voice. The principal at the time that I was going to school, many might remember her, Sister Thelma. She was a very, very nice sister, I remember. She was very kind. So you could approach her. I think I had her as a second grade teacher too. She made an impact on me. She was just very kind and took an interest in you as a child. You know, at the time, you're a kid, you think this is just, this is Catholic school. You don't think one way or the other of it, but it's making an impact on you whether you think it is or not. And hopefully that carries over into your adult life. Which I think it has for me. Coming up through the faith, we're kind of like, oh, I'm used to this, and really kind of miss the point of it sometimes. But when we finally do take hold of it, God willing we do, then all that we learned in the past, all that we can remember through our grade school years, through Catholic schools, it just reaffirmed it. And it's like, oh yeah, I remember all that, and it makes sense. My parents didn't have to worry about the school contradicting what we were taught, the faith, assuming that our folks were pretty grounded in the faith. We went to school and it was just all reinforced. So that reinforcement just helped, build our faith and help form our conscience, really. So that we could become healthy adults. So.
I was a graduate of the original IC school here in Three Rivers from the year 1962 to 1969. Back then, it was run by the Sisters of St. Joseph. We had 7 grades, and the rooms were pretty crowded. What I remember most about the best part of that education for me was that even though it was busy in the classroom, you had the ability to really focus. And the sisters made learning uniquely theirs. What I mean by that, you were tuned in because of the uniforms that they were wearing, the habits. You knew you were in a holy place, and you were just focused in on what they were teaching you, between religion, the math, the reading, and so on. And then, of course, every day you went to Mass. So you started every day going to Mass. As you were there longer, you became an altar server, and it made you more focused in those ways, in a holy or spiritual kind of way. So you knew you were doing something for yourself, but not only for yourself, but for the future, for your serving others. And as that progressed when I moved into high school, it dissipated slightly, only because I didn't have that day-to-day Mass. I didn't have the day-to-day focal points of the nuns and the sisters working with me. And so I dissipated a little bit, or diluted my ability to focus. And one of the key elements that I can tell you from my experience, I was a student athlete. As a student athlete in high school, when I had my most difficult times in athletics, it was the prayer life that I learned in Catholic schools that pulled me through. Through my faith, that I have the confidence that through the Holy Spirit and through prayer life and through going to Mass again every day, because I'm retired, semi-retired, working as a substitute teacher, it's fulfilling, and I'm giving hopefully the same messages that the sisters gave me to the students that I'll be teaching this year and trying to mentor.
When I was there were nuns too. So, like I had, there was Sister Katie, who was a kindergarten teacher. Sister Renee, she taught 6th and 7th, and then Sister Margaret was the principal.
Wow.
So, you know, it's still more of your traditional, you know, you're still making a sacrifice, you know, financially to go there. So that's a decision that you're making and investing in your education and your future to go to that school.
Absolutely.
So that is one thing too, because, you know, it's like public school, especially nowadays, like you might live in the neighborhood, but they might bus you out. You know, your family is making a conscious choice that you're going here, you know. I think that parents are a little bit more engaged, you know, than probably at public, because like you even had parents that would take turns like being like the lunchroom monitors, you know, because we ate a lot of times like in our classroom because of the school when I was at the old school. So just little things like that was more getting the parents more involved, which I think makes a difference too with your education. The more involved that your parents are, I feel like you're going to succeed. But not to take it from there, like I think it depends on the parent too. So you could go to public school though, and your parent could still be very much involved though too. I just think that the family orientation is probably a little bit more here, just because a lot of it is faith-based too.
My name is Pat Monahan, and I have a little bit of history with the Immaculate Conception Trust Fund, and it started back in August of 1995, and at that time I had 2 children in school at Immaculate Conception. And you know, the purpose of the trust fund is to create long-term financial assistance for the school. But I can tell you that it's been very successful in the fact that it has raised a good chunk of money, and that money currently is invested at the diocese, and as of late, you know, the returns have been pretty decent. And from time to time, money, basically the earnings of that fund are transferred to the school to help support the school. I'm pretty proud that I was one of the originators on that. I was not the person that totally started. I was one of, I think, 8 or 9 trustees. And at that time, we did a lot of fundraising, and the fundraising was fairly successful. I think the first 9 years we raised over $300,000. One thing I'd like to say is that one reason for the setting up the trust fund is we wanted to have a vehicle for a place for people to leave money. You know, they didn't necessarily in their will want to give sizable chunk of money just to the school to be used up in a current fashion, but to basically help the school long term. So we've had people that in their will have left money to this trust fund. And I think I would like to let everybody in the parish know that this fund is available for their long-term estate planning, if you will.